Y'all, y'all, y'all. I did not see any of this coming. I don't know what is that's not true. I do know what's happening, but like I don't know what is happening. Like what is even happening in the Britney Spears conservatorship case right now? She spoke to the court on June 23rd. We heard what she said. Everyone heard what she said. And it has caused a tidal wave. Maybe that's strong language. It has definitely caused a wave of legal action. And there have been just a number of motions, and there is a new court order, but it's not the one all the news media stations keep telling y'all it is. And we're going to correct the record on that too, because facts, we're about facts. We have an hour to get into this. We're going to break it all down. We are going to bring the action. Bring the action. We're going to bring the action. We're going to bring the facts. We're going to talk about Free Britney because there's some bullshit going on. And we're DEFCON red. For those of you that are new here, the law nerds will explain in the chat what the red lights mean. We have a lot to talk about. Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery. This conservatorship right now. First of all, this is a special outside of our normal rides emergency meeting of the law nerds just to talk about the facts of WTF is even happening. I have a lot of annoyance right now, but also I want to get into this Bessemer trust motion. I'm going to give a brief road so far, then we're going to get into the motion, and then I'm going to get to as many questions as I can. I know a lot of you have them, and that's what we're here for. Replay crew, there will be a brief timestamp, but we're only talking about Britney. So a brief road so far of what has happened since June 23rd with her status conference hearing to where we are today. It's literally July 1st. It is 6:06 p.m. Central Standard Time. I feel like I need to timestamp the videos because people are going to be like, what's happening? And I'm going to be like, oh, right. We talked about that like 4 hours ago and stuff's already changed. So Britney testified. Britney spoke to the court. She was not under oath. I cannot call it testimony in the court sense of testimony. It was testimony in the she testified. She brought her truth. She spoke to the court on June 23rd. That audio was illegally recorded and re-uploaded literally the fuck everywhere. Prompting the court, by the way, to make an order that the entire LA Superior Court system is stopping remote audio access for all court hearings. So that happened. All remote audio access for all cases moving forward has been discontinued by the LA Superior Court as of this week. So there's that. Britney told the court exactly how she was feeling about the conservatorship and raised quite a lot of issues. Yesterday, what was yesterday? June 30th, there were headlines all over that the court denies the move to oust Jamie. News outlets like TMZ were running with this narrative. Judge denies Britney Spears. Judge denies Britney's motion. Judge denies this. Okay, look, not accurate that it's breaking news. The court heard this motion in February 2021. November is when Sam Ingham brought the motion to appoint Bessemer Trust, which is going to be really relevant going forward, but to appoint Bessemer Trust as the conservator of the estate and to yeet Jamie Spears as the conservator of the estate. In the court's ruling in February, the court indicated that it was denying the motion to remove Jamie Spears. It would appoint the two as co-conservators of the estate. It seemed to me that the court was hoping there would be a transition between the two and would later hear a motion to remove Jamie Spears as the person in charge of Britney Spears's finances, which touches on everything. She wants to go on vacation, he has to approve it. She wants to buy something new, he has to approve it because it all touches back to the money. So this is not a new ruling. This was a ruling made in February. What had happened earlier this week, and we talked about it in Coffee and Cursey Words on Tuesday, is that the court finally got the motions from Sam Ingham. Now, why this was decided in February and the paperwork didn't get to the court till the end of June is a conversation for another day, because I don't know why that took so long. Bessemer should have been digging into these finances in March. We're in June. We're in July now. So earlier this week, Ingham files the paperwork, the conservatorship papers, to formally make Jamie Spears and Bessemer Trust co-conservators. We went over that paperwork talking about what their powers were as co-conservators, what some of the limitations were, and what the ins and outs of the conservatorship of the estate is as it pertained to that paperwork. The judge signed that order yesterday. In that order, it does say that the court denies the motion to remove Jamie Spears. Yes, that was signed June 30th, but the order was made in February. We knew this. I thought at the time it was a win having Bessemer come in. I believed at the time that this was a good thing. Bessemer would come in, they could get up to speed, they could investigate, and they could take over from Jamie Spears down the road. That was my hope of how the conservatorship of the estate would transition. This does not have to do with the conservatorship of the person in Jody Montgomery yet. However, on June 29th, Jamie Spears filed a motion objecting to appointing Jody Montgomery as the conservator of the person, saying, hey, we have questions. We need an investigation. What Britney said on the 23rd brought things to light. She said basically the same thing in 2019 based on the New York Times article, based on documents that got leaked that shouldn't have been leaked, but they're leaked and they're out there now. And now we know you can't unknow. You can't put the shit back in the horse on that. We know now that Britney said a lot of this in 2019. And in her own statements, she said this: I came to the court in 2019 and asked for help and no one heard me, is essentially what she said. So I'm telling you again, most of her issues with the conservatorship dated beyond and back past 2019 when she spoke to the court. The forced to perform, the being punished if she didn't behave, feeling like she was enslaved by this conservatorship, her words. So a lot of this dates back from that court hearing. So Jamie's coming into court on the 29th with a motion saying, we need an investigation to what the fuck Jody Montgomery's up to. Well, a lot of this dates back to when he was the conservator of the person too. I don't think that an investigation's a bad thing. The court granted that motion yesterday. It was uploaded on the court website. I saw it this morning. So the court granted the motion for an evidentiary hearing. That means under oath, figuring out what the fuck is going on. I don't know why that's not being reported, because that's a great thing. Yes, let's have an evidentiary hearing. Let's put people under oath and ask them what is happening. What is going on? That's going to be a closed proceeding. We will probably not know a lot of what happens because, again, the court will not do remote audio access, and this is going to be a sealed proceeding because it's going to have people under oath, but we will see what comes of it. That should be July 14th. That's what the court order said. I posted it on Twitter at the Emily D. Baker. If you follow me there, you'll see that on Twitter. So then news started coming out on TMZ and then the New York Times and then other outlets that Bessemer had asked to be removed as the conservator or co-conservator of the estate this afternoon. And I was like, there's no motion. There's nothing in the court docket. I'm looking at it. So of course I sat there and refreshed, and sure as shit, it pops up. And there it is, Bessemer Trust asking to resign as the co-conservator literally a day after the judge signs the order appointing them as co-conservator. So in effect, because Sam Ingham did not file this paperwork from February till June, Bessemer has not gotten into actually acting as the co-conservator, making it more likely that the court could grant this motion, which really pisses me off if you can't tell. I'm normally not so deeply invested in the cases that I cover, but it really was my deepest hope that having a professional company looking at the books of what's happening in this conservatorship was going to bring some light and some peace and some oversight to what Jamie Spears has been up to. Because I don't think Britney's wishes are to have Jamie Spears continuing to be the only conservator of her estate. But Bessemer is like, what now? No, this is a change of circumstance. And we're going to talk about their motion right now and go through what they said. It's not a very long motion. I talked about Jamie Spears's motion yesterday. That's time-stamped when I talked about the ruling in the Cosby case, and you can head right to that. I'm also going to clip that down and put it on the Britney Spears playlist. I have the Britney Spears playlist. It should be in the notes of this stream so that you can go and see what is going on throughout this case. It goes from newest to oldest. So if you want to get the backstory, go to the last video and work your way up. Let's pull up this motion from Bessemer Trust. I am shooketh that this happened. When I saw the news breaking, I was like, okay, well, you know, let's go to what TMZ said first, because this really annoyed me. The salaciousness of headlines. Yesterday, by the way, CNET actually corrected their headline, which, like, well done, CNET. They were like, oh, we could see where this would be misleading. Yeah, because it's not a new ruling. The judge just signed the order. The ruling happened ages ago. Bessemer files to drop out of conservatorship, doesn't want to deal with the mess. I mean, that's a lot of assumption. 1:26 p.m. So this is their update. But the article initially was that the sources with direct knowledge tell us Bessemer Trust has decided it does not want to get involved because it's become gun shy over all the controversy surrounding the conservatorship. Were they not paying attention? This was going on, not the same way it was after Britney spoke and really, co-signed everything the Free Britney movement has been saying in court. But this has been going on. I'm like, weren't you paying attention? People were protesting outside of the courthouse at that hearing in February when this happened too. Like, this has been going on. As one source put it, Bessemer feels the circumstance surrounding Britney's conservatorship have become a hornet's nest, so it's bailing. Our sources say Bessemer doesn't want to deal with Jamie Spears, but there's more. It has issues were told with Britney's lawyer, Sam Ingham, along with all the public outcry over her case. That's not new. They updated this at 1:26. Bessemer just filed legal documents. What we told you they would do, drop out of Britney's conservatorship. They haven't dropped out yet. They filed the documents. The court has officially appointed them and signed that order. The court has to approve this and sign the order. And according to the docs, Bessemer said when it agreed to sign on, Britney was on board with the conservatorship. In fact, they say Britney herself signed off on Bessemer and the docs included her signature. They say as a result of her testimony last week, they heard her say she objects to the conservatorship and wants to terminate it. Bessemer has heard Britney and respects her wishes. So let's see their last statement and then get into the actual motion. Bessemer acknowledges the news we broke yesterday that they never assumed the role of co-conservator because the proper paperwork had not yet been filed. It was literally signed by, I have the signed order so I can pull it up, but it was literally signed and filed yesterday. As a result, they have done nothing and will continue to do so. True, because that paperwork should have been filed, say it with me, in February or March at the latest. I don't know what the holdup was. I don't know what the holdup was on that. They also say it won't upset the apple cart because there's already a conservator of the estate, Jamie Spears. Right, but it might upset Britney. I can't imagine that what she wants is her dad now again, the only conservator. The point of appointing, like the whole point of having Bessemer on board was so that her dad could be removed as the sole conservator of the estate. It was to overlap them so that the estate, the complex financial estate, could be handed over, because the court's not just going to remove the conservatorship of the estate. That's a much longer process. There's a better chance that the conservatorship of the person will get removed or reduced, and then the estate will get dealt with. I don't think what Bessemer filed is in Britney's best interest. I don't know if the court will grant it or if they will have a hearing and hear from Britney and ask, do you want them to continue on with the estate? Because most of what Britney said in her hearing goes to the conservatorship of the person and the restrictions of the conservatorship of the person. And a motion to terminate the conservatorship has not been filed by Britney's camp for either conservatorship. There are two parts to this thing. So I don't know if the court will grant this, but also Bessemer hasn't started yet, making it easy to let them out now and have to start this process that started in November, start all over again, which is I want some oversight. Like me personally, Emily personally really wants another company to dig in and look at these books and see where the money has gone. I was very optimistic. They're hoping to hold this hearing literally tomorrow morning. Please take note that on July 2nd in Department 4, they're hoping to hear this. Bessemer Trust will and hereby does apply to this court ex parte. Ex parte means Bessemer gets to come in as the only party. No other parties need to be present. For an order approving petitioner's resignation as co-conservator of the estate of Britney Jean Spears due to changed circumstances. That is the legal basis, changed circumstances. They're going to tell you what the changed circumstances are down below. Hint, it was Britney's testimony. In the alternative, petitioner seeks an order shortening time to hear petitioner's application for an order approving petitioner's resignation as co-conservator of the estate due to changed circumstances to meet the next court hearing scheduled for June 14th. So, hey, Your Honor, if you don't approve the ex parte for tomorrow, could we at least hear it on July 14th? Ingham will have, or should have, well, it's an ex parte hearing, but I would like to hear what he has to say on this. But they're basing it off of Britney's talk, or I keep saying testimony. It's not sworn testimony, but Britney's statement to the court is the proper word there. I'm annoyed. Can you tell? I was so optimistic. Ugh. Petitioner was appointed by a minute order of this court on November 10th, 2020. The same day that the court denied removing Jamie Spears. No, that was February. This was the same motion, though, series of motions. But has been awaiting entry of the court's order, which wasn't filed by Sam Ingham. The paperwork needed to get to the court, and that wasn't done literally until the fuck yesterday, which was just entered yesterday. And issuance of letters of conservatorship authorizing petitioner to act. Literally, November to June. There's so much they could have done. This request for approval of resignation is being brought ex parte based on the following exigent circumstances. 1, the fact that the conservatee claimed irreparable harm to her interest in her testimony at the June 23rd, 21 status conference hearing, and more specifically, the conservatee's objection to the continuation of her voluntary conservatorship and her desire to terminate the conservatorship. Paperwork to terminate has still not been filed. To promote judicial economy by obviating, God, we love it when they use obviating in the legal paperwork, obviating the need to formalize the appointment of petitioner who has not been issued letters of conservatorship. The letters of I pulled up the order and the letters which were signed yesterday, and is therefore not currently authorized to act and has taken no actions as conservator, has made no decisions as conservator, has received no assets of the estate, has taken no fees, and will immediately resign if such appointment is formalized due to changed circumstances. Petitioner is resigning because of the changed circumstances reflected in the conservatee's June 23rd testimony and for the following reasons. In originally consenting to its appointment, because they ask the conservators, do you consent to be appointed as a conservator? You can't just force someone to act in this role. So it is a mix between the conservator consenting and the court issuing the letters of conservatorship, which authorize the actions. Petitioner relied on the representations of the parties that the ongoing conservatorship was voluntary. and that all parties, including the conservatee, had consented to petitioner acting as co-conservator of the estate. In fact, the conservatee had nominated petitioner. Britney wanted them to take over from Jamie to act as conservator and consented thereto. As a result of the conservatee's testimony at the June 23rd hearing, however, petitioner has become aware that the conservatee objects to the continuance of her conservatorship and desires to terminate the conservatorship. Petitioner has heard the conservatee and respects her wishes. Part of me calls bullshit, because though Britney said in court on the 23rd that she has objections to the continued conservatorship, her lawyer has not filed that yet. And it is clear that her desire to get rid of her father is an overriding desire. It is unlikely that the court will just end the conservatorship of the estate. I don't think Bessemer might be hoping to not bring the expense to Britney's estate of getting up to speed on this case if the conservatorship is ultimately going to be terminated. This is a conversation that's going to happen with Sam Ingham, the court, and the other parties involved, saying, what are we doing? Because Britney wanted us. Now she doesn't want the conservatorship at all. The motion to terminate has not been filed. She doesn't want her dad in charge of her finances. Do we spend the money to get up to speed if this is going to end in the next 6 months? Or is it in her best interest that we don't even get started and bear the expense to the estate? Due to these changed circumstances, petitioner is tendering its resignation as co-conservator and requests that the court approve its resignation forthwith. Since there is still a currently acting conservator of the estate, Dad Spears, petitioner's resignation will not result in a vacancy in the office of the conservator of the estate. The application is based on the attached memorandums of points of authorities, the supporting declaration of Bessemer Trust, the pleadings, filings in this action, and such further argument and evidence as may be presented upon hearing of this application. Notice, rules, legal. This gets into the legal that allows an ex parte application to be filed in exigent circumstances, meaning that shit matters. We need to do it now. Harm can come if we don't deal with it now. The fact that the conservatee claimed irreparable harm to her interest in her testimony at the June 23rd hearing, more specifically, the objection to the continuation of her voluntary conservatorship to promote judicial economy, which again, to not waste the court time and to not waste Britney's estate's money. That's a restatement of what was above. It would be expedient in the best interest of all parties and in the interest of judicial economy for the court to approve petitioner's resignation before the court issues letters of conservatorship to the petitioner. Since there is still a currently acting conservator, the court has authority to accept the resignation under the probate code argument. And let's get into the argument because it's more helpful than the probate code that allows this to happen, because it's allowed to happen. You can't force people. Well, you can force Britney, but you can't force other people to do things. Right? Petitioner was appointed by a minute order of this court on November 10th, 2020. A copy of the minute order is attached. Pursuant to probate code 2660, the court has authority to accept the resignation. Petitioner believes the court should accept the resignation based on the following. Petitioner agreed to act as conservator of the estate in reliance on the agreement of all parties to provide stability to the estate administration. Yeah, to figure out where the fuck the money's going. Declaration of Bessemer Trust attached. It was represented to petitioner, Bessemer, that by the parties that the ongoing conservatorship was voluntary and that the conservatee had consented in writing to petitioner acting as co-conservator and that all the parties agreed to have petitioner act as so. That might still be true at the time that that was done in November. Exhibit B, Bessemer Declaration. The representations were supported by the conservatee's nomination of petitioner to act as conservator. A copy of the nomination of conservator is attached as Exhibit C. We got receipts and everything on this one. Receipts and everything. Based upon the representations and agreement of the parties and in reliance on those representations and agreements, petitioner consented to act as co-conservator. The same representations and agreements described that were made to the court on at the November 10th hearing, at which petitioner was not present, and based on those representations and agreements of the parties, the court appointed Bessemer to act as co-conservator. From and after the November 10th hearing to the present date, petitioner has been awaiting entry of the court's formal order of appointment and issuance of letters of conservatorship. I don't know. I don't know why that didn't happen. It's odd to me that that didn't happen. And I don't know if that was, I don't know who delayed it. I don't know if Ingham delayed sending it to the other parties, if Jamie Spears and his team delayed signing them. I don't know where the delay was. Jamie Spears objected to Bessemer coming in. I hope that his team wouldn't just delay signing them for gamesmanship. I want to say I can't imagine someone would do that, but with the shit we've seen just in the time I've covered stuff on this channel, I can imagine quite a lot. I just would hope that that wouldn't be true. I think having Bessemer come in was a good thing, and I was very optimistic. Petitioner was just informed that the court entered the order on June 30th. Legit yesterday. Notwithstanding the foregoing, because letters of conservatorship have not been issued, petitioner still has no legal authority to act. Petitioner has taken no actions as conservator, but has made no decisions as conservator, has received no assets. We covered that. As a result of the testimony at the June 23rd hearing, petitioner became aware that conservatorship objects to the continuance. Due to the changed circumstances, they're tendering their resignation. Since there is still a currently acting conservator, we went over that. Petitioner waives its right to receive any fees and reimbursements of its cost for all the work it's done leading up to this, because there would have been time and work expended leading up to this. So let's see what the exhibits say. We've already covered the, I don't know if we covered the minute order from the 10th. This is the minute order from the 10th. The court finds sufficient evidence has been provided to grant the matter on calendar this date based upon the reading and moving papers and considering all the presented evidence. Petition appoint conservator of the estate filed on 8/31/20 is granted as follows. The court denies without prejudice the relief requested to suspend James P. Spears immediately upon appointment of Bessemer Trust as sole conservator. The court denies without prejudice relief requested to direct James P. Spears, TriStar, and Michael Caine to deliver the entire conservatorship estate to Bessemer Trust as sole conservator. The remainder of relief is granted. The court orders that the conservators file an accounting no later than Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. The court sets an order to show cause with the accounting on April 1st, 2022. Britney Spears is ordered to prepare, that means her attorney, not actually her, the order after hearing. So this is the order appointing Bessemer as the co-conservator that Sam Ingham was ordered to prepare and didn't until like a week ago. I'll look up the exact date in a minute of what date that was filed, but it was like a week ago because I covered it when those documents finally popped up. This is a declaration of Bessemer from the managing director. Unless indicated otherwise, I have personal knowledge. Let's see what Ingham said. Let's get into what was said. I was contacted by Sam Ingham, the court-appointed counsel for Britney Jean Spears, conservatee, who inquired whether Bessemer would be interested in acting as co-conservator of the estate. I was told by the parties that the conservatorship was an ongoing voluntary conservatorship. Technically, it's legally a voluntary conservatorship still. We just know how Britney feels about it, but technically it's still legally a voluntary conservatorship. And am aware that conservatee had consented to Bessemer's appointment. On August 27, 2020, the conservatee nominated Bessemer to act as conservator of her estate. Once the agreement of the parties, that's an awkward sentence. Once the agreement of the parties that Bessemer should act as conservator of the estate was obtained, and in reliance thereon, Bessemer agreed to act, the court appointed them November 10th. I am informed that the order was signed on June 30th, 2021, but the letters of conservatorship have not been issued to Bessemer. I'm going to pull up what was signed on the 30th just to verify, because you have the order appointing the conservator and then the letters of conservatorship. That's the last formal part, but the court signed the order yesterday. To date, although Bessemer was appointed, they've taken no action, right? Because the order was just signed. I declare this was signed literally today. As a result of the Conservatee's testimony, June 23rd, 2021, I became aware that the Conservatee objects to the continuance of the conservatorship and desires to terminate. I declare under penalty of perjury. Receipt C. Nomination of conservator. This was filed by Britney on August 27th, nominating Bessemer Trust. Exhibit D is the consent to act signed by Bessemer Trust. There's one of these on file for Jody Montgomery too. Resignation. This is the formal resignation from today. So let's pull up those other court orders, and then I know I've been talking for like a half an hour. I'll actually like say hello and where you all are from, and then we will get into saying hello and Q&A. Don't forget to do the YouTube things, the likey, subscribey things. If this is your first live stream, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat so we can say hello to all the new law nerds. Let me pull up the documents that the court signed yesterday. There's a couple of them. This is the appointment order. So it looks like there aren't letters yet, just the appointment order. So not in effect until the letters have issued, and we still don't have those. This is the signed appointment order by the judge. Letters normally issue like a day or so. It's just additional paperwork, like a day or so after. And this is the official paperwork appointing them as the co-conservators of the estate. But as we talked about, was it Tuesday? I think we talked about this. Britney has voluntarily requested appointment of conservator, and good cause has been shown for appointment, is unable to manage financial resources. And then it gets into Bessemer Trust as co-conservator. And we talked about all of these on Tuesday. They just weren't signed by the court. They were signed by everybody else. We went through the additional orders and the independent powers and all of that. All the signatures are on separate pages. The attorneys for Lynn Spears signed. The attorneys for James Spears signed. Everybody agreed. The judge signed, and now Bessemer is like, yeah, well, the letters could have issued today, but didn't, at least as of the recording of this. So the court has signed the official order, but there is that one caveat of the official letters of conservatorship, which, let me see if I have any. I'm sure I have. I know I have letters of conservatorship from 2008, because you get the temporary letters of conservatorship and then the permanent letters of conservatorship. I just wanted to show you what the appointment letters look like, because I have the formal letters in here somewhere. Here's the 2009 letters of conservatorship. So they are a separate checkboxed form that say very clearly at the top, letters of conservatorship, who is the conservator, and then going through the different powers that are granted. I have been digging through the old appointments because I'm very curious as to what powers the conservatorship actually has. And I have been trying to play catch up with all of the old conservatorship paperwork. It's so good to see all of you that are catching your first live stream. Yay, all of you. Welcome, new to the live stream law nerds. I know there's a lot of questions on this. So, Bessemer has been appointed. Letters of conservatorship have not issued. Bessemer says, no harm to let us out now. We haven't done shit because we are still not able to do shit. And I'm kind of flabbergasted by this. Like, part of me doesn't want to believe that this is an excuse to get out of the shit show now, because I really think a professional company looking at Britney's books is the best thing, because I don't think the conservatorship of the estate is going to be done quickly. I think the conservatorship of the person is what they'll tackle first. And the fact that Ingham hasn't filed to terminate the conservatorship, the fact that Ingham hasn't filed it yet, I wonder if the court is going to say, wait, we're not hearing this yet. Like, we're just not hearing this yet. So I have questions. You have questions. Am I out of water? Before our members only live stream tonight, I'm going to have to get more water. This one still has water. The amount of cups on my desk, it's like literally these, this, and caffeine from Sonic. So all the things, because we do, for the members of the channel and the new channel members, right after this live stream, we are rolling into our monthly members only live stream that happens the first Thursday of the month, which also happens to be the first of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I've got questions. You've got questions. Let's have questions. I'm going to try to get to the super chats first. We have just about 30 minutes to get to questions. Welcome, Alicia. Could Ingham be held accountable for not filing documents in a timely manner and not filing the paperwork to end the conservatorship despite her express wishes? It's hard for me to jump into an attorney-client relationship. I also don't know if Britney's actually in Maui or not, because, you know, it's hard to say what's going on. If Britney is actually in Maui and they have not had a chance to have a deeper discussion, then it's not irresponsible to not file them yet, because there's a lot of a conversation that has to happen about what comes next. So if he has not had a conversation with her because she has not been in California to have that conversation, then no, it's odd to me. Like, I have questions. Cindy Thomas, I'm also just outside Nashville, Tennessee, and the weather today is great for my lawn, but not great for my hair. So it's hard for me to jump into another attorney-client relationship. I normally only try to comment on what could be happening or what I see in the filings. The lack of filing indicates to me either they haven't had a conversation or they're having this conversation of the court's not going to end it without a examination. You don't want an examination. What should we do? In that case, I think he should just file it and tell the court, we don't want an examination, and then make the court be the bad guy. I feel like TMZ is trying to make the court be the bad guy with the judge denies Britney. The judge denied Britney back in November. It was formalized in February, and then the rest of the paperwork wasn't filed until June, which I do have questions about. But if Bessemer had already had letters of conservatorship issued, this would have been harder for them to resign. And it just makes me sad because I was really optimistic that having Bessemer was one step closer to getting rid of Jamie and that the conservatorship of the estate could go on for longer. So I'm frustrated. Hello, Sydney, Australia. The Emily Show podcast does well in Australia. It always surprises me. So hello. I agree with you, Tracy. Free Britney. I think it's going to be a process, but I am glad that the court ordered a hearing. Let me see. I pulled up the order. Let me pull up the order for everybody. I am glad the court ordered a hearing, an evidentiary hearing, to look into what is happening. So this I put up on Twitter. I didn't pull it up on stream. This came down, when was this filed? This was filed at 1:25 p.m. yesterday. It didn't populate onto the court website. I did not see it before I streamed last night. It doesn't mean it wasn't there, because when did I check? I checked while I was live last night because there was a lot of conversation. And so I went in and checked and hadn't seen this yet. So this did not populate onto the court's website until later, which is not unusual, but this was filed at 1:25 p.m. The July 14th, 2021 at 1:30 p.m., there will be a hearing with regard to James Spears' petition and instructions and order investigating issues and claims raised by Britney on June 23rd. I think that is a very, very good step forward because all of us want to know what the fuck is actually happening. But because the court will not be streaming, we will not get to hear it. We will see the minute order at the end because the entirety of the LA courts no longer have the remote audio access. D. Marie, how was Bessemer unaware? No, they weren't unaware. They said they were waiting, but they can't file it. At the end of that court order, it was ordered for Britney's attorney, Sam Ingham, to file the orders. The orders had to be filed and signed. The orders weren't filed, and I have the orders. The court just signed it yesterday, but let me pull that back up, when it was filed, because it's right here in this same file. From the 30th. Let's see. Why doesn't it have the e-file date of the original orders? This just had the date it was signed by the judge. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up on we're going to pull it up on the docket. But they were waiting for it, was the sense I got from that order. So let's pull up the docket real quick and I'll tell you what day it was filed. But it was filed literally like last week. It could have been early this week. So this website, of all the websites, LA Court is one of the worst. The fact that I have Britney's case number memorized is a little troubling to me. So the proposed order was filed by Sam Ingham with the court on June 25th. That's from that November 10th hearing. I don't know if that's because he couldn't get signatures, because the signatures don't have dates on them, or what. I don't know. Hello, first time from Canada. I know today's Canada Day, only because I watched the Phil DeFranco show today and said it was Canada Day. So hello, Canada. Question, has BT been getting paid since February? Bessemer Trust? No, they haven't gotten paid at all. And in that motion, they said they waive their fees. No, they haven't gotten paid because they haven't been able to actually do anything. How can they say they have not done anything because the paperwork was not filed but still getting paid? They're not getting paid. Who delayed the filing? Unknown. Who delayed the filing? Because I don't know if Ingham gave it to people to sign because the signatures aren't dated. So unknown to me. Unknown for me. I want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Philly D is how I found you. Thank you. I know a lot of you beautiful bastards are in here. Did you see the size of his zucchini today? For all of you that didn't watch Phil DeFranco today, you're like, Emily, seriously, WTF. But no, seriously. But no, seriously. Well, maybe we'll talk more about Phil DeFranco zucchini in the members only live stream. I'm not trying to be sassy. That's what happened today. And it was kind of wild. It was a little bit wild. It was a little bit wild, wasn't it? Oh, we need some levity because I'm just like. So let me get to back super chats. Oh, I missed a bunch of them while I was in mode. Apologies. Can't the judge keep Bessemer in to investigate? Couldn't a good, strong trust that can protect her money, but then free her trust could pay all her bills? And she also has a business manager to do that too. But yes, there needs to be a conversation with Britney's attorney, Bessemer Trust, and the judge to clarify where Britney's frustrations are, because some of that can't happen in open court because it could belie attorney-client privilege, depending on what Britney has said to Sam Ingham. It is complex because if she's made conflicting statements to him, it's definitely complex. So I'm just. Carrie says, does anyone else worry that if the judge does not agree to terminate the conservatorship, Britney will? I worry for Britney, but she has been fighting for 13 years and has good reason to keep fighting. Ashley said, I just watched you on 2 times speed to catch up on all of this. I hope the court helps Britney. I hope the court helps Britney too. And I don't know what the right option is here. There's a lot of behind the scenes conversation. I personally want Bessemer to stay in and sort out these freaking finances. What is going on behind the scenes? I want to know. I want Bessemer to tell us. So I was hopeful. So I was very helpful. Matt Bond said, this is exactly what I expect, true Brit style. Thank you, Matt Bond. Judy, you got this, said PA heard free BY and ended up freeing Bill Cosby, stolen from The Daily Show and Trevor Noah. Both circumstances are sad for different reasons. And I think with Cosby, well, you guys can go watch my stream yesterday about Cosby. The court got that right. I don't know what the court is getting right here, and I want to know. Julie Virgo, hello, said, do you think this will end in Britney's conservatorship being terminated? I think we are a lot of court process away from the conservatorship being terminated. I have always said, and I will continue to say, I think the strategy would be to go after the conservatorship of the person to give Britney a bit more freedom, remove her dad from the conservatorship of the estate, and then deal with the conservatorship of the estate and business managers separately. I think that that's absolutely what should happen. And I was hoping to see it in that order. Get Bessemer in, let them start investigating the financial, leave that alone, start ticking away at the personal freedom stuff and getting that back. Because I think that's the more likely path. We'll see what her attorney files. I have a lot of questions. Taz13 said, hi from Republic of Ireland. I had to resubscribe as YouTube unsubscribed me. They do that. Love your work. Keep it up. Thank you. Refty1 said, my ginger Thor sends Fred and George some catnip. Fred is back here. Fred is a mama's boy. He's hanging out. George is hanging out with the kids, but the Ginger brothers, Fred and George, appreciate it. Melissa B said, does Britney during Britney talking, she mentioned that her research shows many conservatorships are ended without an eval. Is she correct? And can she get that? I don't know if she's correct because I do not know what research she did into what conservatorships. A lot of them do not. If what she is talking about is temporary conservatorships that are not made permanent, where no eval is ordered, then yes, I could see that happening. But those often have surrounding circumstances, or someone passes before the conservatorship is made permanent. So I don't know what research she did. Could the judge end a conservatorship without an eval? In theory, yes. After 13 years, it's very, very unlikely. And I will talk about evals a little bit. I see a couple questions about it before we've got to bounce. Octonation, good to see you, friend. I've been frustrated since Britney spoke in court. Same. Leslie said, catnip tip for brain refreshing. Thank you. The brain is tired. Becky, thank you for the super chat. Octonation, collective deep breath. I'm frustrated with this because I feel like Bessemer hasn't even gotten to get into their legal duty yet. It was my optimism and expectation that this was a win, having her evaluate the conservatorship. Like, this felt like such a win for me, that I'm personally a bit disappointed that Bessemer is like, yeah, fuck it, we're out. I get Bessemer's point. Like, we thought this was voluntary. That does not sound voluntary. No, we don't want anything to do with it. But I was really hoping to get outside eyes on this. And I hope that the conversations with the attorneys can reconcile it so they can actually do the work of looking into this and not having Jamie be the only one really with his eyes on the books. Michelle said, question, can we talk more about NDAs with multiple people coming forward and stating they're going against them? How does this play out for Papa Spears? We'll see if lawsuits get filed over the NDAs, but I think people are like, fuck it, sue me. Go, I've got money, go ahead. Let's do it. Let's roll. Because people might find the NDAs unconscionable. So we can talk more about NDAs in another stream, probably tomorrow night's stream. Jane said, it pisses me off that Bessemer has asked to resign. Now there are no checks and balances on Jamie. That's where I'm feeling frustration, though I understand Bessemer saying, we thought this shit was voluntary. We don't know what you all are doing, but I would like them to look into it. And the court might have that conversation with them and be like, no, you need to be here. We need you. Somebody look at these books. Kayla Weezy said, question, do you think Sam didn't push through the February order to the court until after Britney spoke to allow Bessemer to show the court they are respecting Britney's wishes? Basically a PR move. I don't think it's that calculated. Again, I don't know if he didn't get it to people, if people didn't sign it and get it back to him. I'm sure he has a docket of work to do too. I can't think of a lawyer, because that would not be what's in the best interest of his client, which should be what he is doing. So I can't imagine him co-signing a PR move like that. I could more easily see people not signing it and getting it back to him, and it being like, until the 23rd, this was all just rolling along. It was not really pressing. So I could see it being like, well, it's not really pressing, and Jamie had objected to it. The fact that Jamie objected to Bessemer coming in and having access to the books is all the more reason I want Bessemer to have access to the books. He didn't want them to. Therefore, I want them to. Cynthia said, I appreciate your explanation of conservatorship. I have one on my disabled son, and most people do not realize that it's hard. My kid is a simple one, and it is hard. And it's when it's needed, it is a very good thing. The question is this what's needed for Britney? And I think that's the question a lot of us have. Sean said, demonetization cushion. Thank you. Sandra super chatted and said, compassionate lawyers show up claiming to be her team, demanding access to their client. No. And then represent her for PR or on contingency upon her freedom. No. No, they can't, because it would actually violate some of the court's orders and findings that Britney can't hire counsel. It would be unethical for lawyers to do so. Lawyers have tried, and the appeal is something that I'm going through. Lawyers have tried, and Britney had contacted lawyers to have them appointed, and the court hadn't allowed it, and the appeal was too late. So that has happened. Can it happen again? Can Sam Ingham ask to allow Britney to hire outside counsel? Yes. He indicated in court that she was allowed to talk to their hired litigation counsel without him if she desired to. So there is some other attorneys involved for Britney and representing Britney, not just Sam Ingham. There's also a separate law firm. But she didn't pick them, by the way. They were chosen by Ingham and appointed by the court. Does Bessemer not have communication with Britney? No, they're not formally appointed yet. So no, they don't have communication with her yet. Why don't they ask her if she wants them? Well, she filed the paperwork saying she did, and then in court said she doesn't want any of it. Also, her dad must be doing something sketchy. Always a concern. Jadezia, I hope I got that right. Thank you for the super chat. Could Ingham be held accountable for not filing documents? I got to that one. Avaloma said, can you explain voluntary versus involuntary conservatorships? How is Britney's voluntary? If hers is voluntary, then what does involuntary look like? She agreed to the people that were the conservators and agreed to the conservatorship. They are literally tick boxes on the paperwork that I've covered a few times, but they are tick boxes on that paperwork. She has now asked her attorney to end this. We have not seen that paperwork filed. We all have lots of questions. J. Michael Clow said, I think this was very calculated. Well, I think it's a good ethical move. I think in the overall environment of what's going on, it will do Britney more damage than good. Same. Can't fault Bessemer for taking this action. Same, which is where the frustration is. I think they're trying to do the right thing, but I also don't think it's the right thing for her. Kate said, how do you join membership on iPhone? I've tried all day and it won't let me. I don't know if you can from an iPhone, but Tech Valor might be able to help you. Kate B1009. I don't know if you have to do it from an iPad or from a computer. I'm not sure. Z Seltzer said, can't the judge keep Bessemer in to investigate? They could. And we got to that one. So I think I'm caught up. Susie Q said, why do you think Britney is pushing so hard not to be evaluated? I think that based on Britney's statements, she feels, based on what she said to the court on the 23rd, that every time she's been evaluated, it's gotten worse for her, and that she doesn't like the process of the evaluations, that it's not a fun process, that it feels very violating, that she feels that she's been violated enough, that her dignity has been kind of intruded upon enough, and that she doesn't owe anyone a fucking thing anymore, and she's done. That's what I heard. So that's why I think she's fighting it. I think she's done, and she's like, I owe you nothing. I'm done. And I don't blame her with everything that has happened. So I think I missed a few. Tech Love and Mama, I didn't get to pull yours up. I'm sorry, but I see it. Good to see you, friend. Emily just wanted to say hi. Hope you and the fam are well. We're good. I'm glad I caught your live. Much love to you. Tech Love and Mama, really good to see you, friend. Much love to you as well. Thank you for the super chat. My chat jumped before I got to pull it up, but I saw it in there. Irene, hi, Emily, you're amazing. Thank you. If they find that Britney was being mistreated by her team and her family, what can Britney do legally? It's very hard to speculate, but ew, I'm going to sneeze. Apologies, as I'm still recovering from being sick. I think Britney would need to be able to get her own attorney outside of all of this and do an independent investigation and really go through the court records and then decide if there's room for civil action or not, and go from there. So, Ari, I think I pronounced that right. What do you think of Matt Gaetz wanting to speak with Britney? Well, though I know he is a problematic and loaded personality, I did see and tweeted a number of members of Congress want to have a congressional hearing about conservatorships and talk to Britney. Do I think Britney's care team will let that happen? No. Do I think they will allow Britney to testify before Congress? No. Do I think it's all altruistic or partly a political PR move? I mean, I have questions, but this is also something that a number of members of Congress have been asking for a while. Could somebody else outside the court system investigate this? Maybe. Would they find any wrongdoing? I don't know. I don't know if there's wrongdoing. I don't know if there's maliciousness. I don't know if this is a clusterfuck of ineptitude. I don't know. What I do know is that this doesn't seem to be best serving Britney, and first needs to sort that out. And then how this all happened can be, armchair quarterbacked forever. First, the immediate triage is Britney feeling protected, safe, and heard, and having her rights restored. Those are the things I would like to see. Then we triage backwards what the fuck happened here. So, Victoria B says, can the NDAs, it depends what NDAs they are, and it depends on the circumstances. So it depends on the circumstances. Can the NDAs be enforceable considering everyone is alluding to some highly problematic behavior? I think people have a good defense on some of the things I've seen, saying these were signed under duress and therefore it's not enforceable. My signature is not enforceable. If that's what's best, I don't know. Mother Oats said, question, Iggy Azalea came out on Twitter saying she was under duress signing the NDA. See, this goes exactly to what we were just saying. The timing is so perfect. Right before the show, she was given it. Does a judge factor in? Yes, duress can counteract the signing of a thing and invalidate it. That is not advice in this situation. I'm sure Iggy Azalea has her own fleet of lawyers. Jordan Harrison, question, could this get a conservatorship going about Bessemer being the sole conservator of a state? That would be good for Britney if that happened. New to your channel, Emily, and it's great. Thank you, Jordan. No, Bessemer would have to stay in and then Jamie get removed. Bessemer getting removed puts Britney back at square zero. Not square zero, but square one. I don't like it. The court did not even send the books to Bessemer. They couldn't. They were waiting for the order to be signed. The court couldn't do anything. It was ordered that Britney's attorney get the order to the court. Britney's attorney didn't get the order to the court until the 25th. The court didn't sign it till the 30th. 5 days is not long for a court to sign an order, by the way. So there's that. You guys, it is just at 7:00 and I'm going to have to wrap because we do have a members only live. This stream as it ends will dump you right into the members only live. If you are not already there, it's also on the community tab. So we are going to have to roll over. I'm going to hit a few more questions. Members, thank you for being on Emily Time with me. To the almost 4,000 of you here, please go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with somebody who needs the facts. We are all about Free Britney, but we're also all about facts and process. So we are going to parse out the facts while hoping that Britney is supported, heard, and she gets her autonomy back. We're going to do all the things. If you see my reels or shorts on social, feel free to share them with people who might need that information. Thank you. Thank you. We're getting to the last few super chats and then we got to go. It's like last song. It's closing time. I know it will probably be an it depends thing. Lawyers, sorry, we're like that. But do you think Britney can vote well in the conservatorship? I have been digging back through the documents. Some conservatorships do not retain voting rights and other conservatorships do retain voting rights. Unfortunately, I have not answered that for myself. I have heard that she cannot vote. I have not seen it in the documents. I've also heard that she can't make medical decisions. And now Jamie Spears is saying, well, we never said that. So I am digging through all of the publicly available documents, which takes a considerable amount of time, to try to find the conservatorship of the person documents that are controlling right now because they've been updated over the years. But I'm trying to track the underlying document and then go forward. So that's my goal. I did not see Iggy Azalea's statements regarding the NDA. I think that we covered it. I saw mention of it on Phil DeFranco today. So I agree. Videos are fun. Britney did voice some real concerns, and that is why there's going to be an evidentiary hearing on the 14th of July, which is a really big deal and a very good thing. This news has overshadowed it, but that evidentiary hearing, the court saying, yes, we need to look into what Britney said on the 23rd, is a really good thing. Tina Harris, can someone hire independent counsel to represent Britney? No, she has to hire her own counsel, and she has not been allowed to do so, and that's part of what's going on with this conservatorship. Does Britney have the ability to request a new judge? Brenda Ball, there would have to be a reason to request it. You can't just yeet the judge, and I have not seen enough reason for that just yet. Thank you, members. Thank you, everybody. Could this conservatorship go on forever? A lot of conservatorships do go on forever, and they do not end until the conservatee passes. That's how most conservatorships end. So in theory, yes, but let's hope not. Let's hope not. All right, members, we will continue. I'm sorry to after party it. Normally I don't do a stream before the members only stream. We do a members only stream every Thursday, the first Thursday of the month. Natalie Lawyer Chick, good to see you. No, you can't just eat the judge. You can't just be like, I don't like this one. Picky, choosy. I want a new one. I mean, you can 170.6 them, but this is we're 13 years in, so you can't do that. So I normally don't do streams before, but there was so much misinformation about everything going on with Britney. I am frustrated by Bessemer's motion. I understand why they did it. I am encouraged that the judge is holding an evidentiary hearing on the 14th. I am fucking annoyed that the media outlets are like, judge deals blow to Britney, blah, 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 blah. No, that shit happened in November. Her attorney just didn't actually file the paperwork. It's not new. I will see all of you over in the members only stream. Thank you for being there. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. We will be over there in just a minute. If you cannot find it, go to your community tab. Everyone else, tomorrow night for Friday Night Live, we will be talking about this more. Hopefully nothing else will be filed and we can all like breathe. We're going into 4th of July weekend. We need to like plan barbecues and stuff, but no, we have a lot to do. All right, members, I will see you in a minute. I know we're running a few minutes late. Thank you for your patience. Thank you guys for riding. A huge thank you to the mods that were able to ride again tonight for holding it down. You actually make this channel run. You help this community keep going, and I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a law nerd, and I will see you tomorrow night on Friday Night Live, unless you're watching this in the replay crew, and then I'll see you on Tuesday or Friday, or you can rewatch this video. No, I'm not D'Angelo Wallace. I just think he's fabulous. All right, bye. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube.